I just want when people tune in to watch to feel like we're sitting in a coffee shop and you and I are chatting and they get to eavesdrop on our conversation. Hey everyone, Erik Stein here. It is the last Thursday of the month, so you know what that means. It means it's time for PCPA's Talkback series. I got my interviewing shirt on and I've got my raspberry lime spindrift. Boom! So I am really excited. And you want to know, honestly, a tiny bit sad, because recently she let us know that she's going to be leaving PCPA and moving on to the next chapter in her life. I want to introduce you to Katie Fuchs-Wackowski. Katie has been with PCPA in so many different capacities. She started with us as a student, but we wouldn't let her leave. We kept her on as an intern right after she graduated. I think she's done multiple internships, because I know she's done a choreography internship and she's done an acting internship, but yet we still would not let her leave. And we brought her in as a resident artist a few years ago, and she's been a resident artist in the company, one of our teachers, an incredible teacher. She's been our resident choreographer, and she's also now moving into directing, on top of all of the wonderful roles she's played for us. I know as things start to reopen and things start to get back to some sort of maybe a new normal, there's some fun and exciting stuff on the horizon. We've talked already a little bit about the fact that you and your incredible wife Annalie are going to be moving on to the next chapter in your life. You're heading back to back to, because you started your journey as a child in Colorado. Is that right?
Yeah, Utah and Colorado. We officially lived in Utah, but we spent so much time in Colorado. I frequently tell people I'm from both places, that I grew up in Utah and Colorado, because it's closer to the truth. So yeah, I'm going back to what feels like home to me in Colorado. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what a young Katie Wackowski growing up in Utah, spending a lot of time in Colorado. What was life like for you growing up?
My I love my parents, and my family life growing up was just a bucket of fun. My parents are both outdoor enthusiasts, and I have one brother 2 years older than me whom I'm really close to, and the four of us were off doing any number of outdoor adventures kind of my whole life. We're in great snow area, and so we grew up skiing a lot, cross country or downhill. We grew up river running a lot. We're right in the back door, or right in our back door was Dinosaur National Monument, which I grew up thinking dinosaurs were like, oh well, dinosaurs are normal. Because I grew up right next to the monument, but there's a great stretch of river that runs through there, and we do daily stretches on that growing up. And then I became a river guide on the same stretches and some multi-days later. But hiking, biking, just all sorts of things. And then, of course, my brother and I also wound up having artistic impulses very early on in life. He enjoyed music and the violin, and now plays, I don't know, he's kind of like George. He just sees something he wants to learn and does it, whether it's a musical instrument or some other hobby. It's great. And I got really interested in dance pretty early on, and soccer, but I heard that those two didn't go so well together, so I chose dance.
When you're skiing down a mountain, you're going to dance class. How do you decide where to focus as you head off to college and beyond?
That was really difficult for me for a while. I have just enough Gemini in me to want to try everything. I've just been like that since I was a kid. And if I can't pick it up fast enough, I get frustrated. But I always wanted to do everything. And when I hit, and a lot of these things like really help you kind of cross-pollinate skills back and forth, at least in the athletics and sort of how you think about things. But when I got to college, it was kind of a time of great balance for me, because I was a river guide for four summers. And the last summer I did something else, and I took 4.5 years at college. And those first 4 years, I was river guiding in the summer. And when you do it, you get tired after a full season of being out in the elements and going down rivers. And it's beautiful, but you just kind of get physically tired of it. And the brain has all this wonderful time outside in the elements, communing with nature, to get inspired and get really excited about creating things. And so the season would end, and it would be perfect timing because I had all these ideas that I wanted to go try, especially in the dance world. And so in college, I was focused on dance and theater. I did a double major. And same thing, throughout the year, all the creative juices would enjoy themselves and then start to wane, and you'd start to get tired of rehearsal schedules. And by the end of the school year, I was just itching to run back to the hills and go run rivers. And so for a while, it was really kind of the perfect balance, because the two fed off one another so well. And I had that time for rejuvenation from both of them. And as I reached the end of my year in college, I had a lot of questions about wondering, well, first of all, dance or theater. I had always been seen as the dancer who acted. And I loved acting, but I just didn't have as much exposure. I didn't have as much experience. Everyone was like, oh, Katie's a dancer, Katie's a dancer, Katie's a dancer. And I remember having this breakdown in my college chair's office about, like, I don't know if I want to be a dancer, like just complete mess. And I think it's because I didn't know, because dance is so, you have to love the style of dance you're doing. If I wasn't really happy with the style, I'd burn out really, really quickly. I just realized that I wasn't sure if there was any one style of dance that could sustain me happily in a career. And I just didn't have enough theater experience to be confident that I could go do a theater career. And so I knew I loved art, but I didn't know what to do with it. And that didn't get answered for a while. And I think the answer is probably going to keep changing my entire life. But it wasn't until I found PCPA that I actually thought, well, someone might think that I could actually do acting as a career instead of just dance. That's great. That's exciting. And when I got into classes as a student, all of a sudden I was excited to do my homework every day. And I was excited to wake up and try the new thing. And the great thing about doing dance with theater is I got to do every style of dance I wanted. And if I didn't like one of the styles I was engaged in, no, you won't be doing it anymore in 3 months. Like, new show, you'll have moved on. And so theater was kind of perfect in the arts as a way to meld all of the arts that I loved at the time.
Well, it was just so obvious to us when you came to PCPA that you were an incredible actor who also happened to be a beautiful dancer. I will remember forever watching you play Dream Laurie in Oklahoma, and how aggressive you were in such a beautiful way. And I can tell you now, because we don't talk about specific things while somebody's doing a show, because we don't want to get the actor into their heads. But the way you breathed as Laurie, especially as you were spinning out of the long veil, it was, we could hear your breath. There was a rhythmic thing that I found it caused me to breathe with you. How did PCPA come into your life? You already had your bachelor's degree. How did you find PCPA?
I swear it has a magnetic attraction for those who are meant to come spend part of their journey here. I swear, because everyone has some story that's just slightly luck based. I actually was I went to school. So in my undergrad at Southern Utah University, it was in, I think, that conversation where I'm crying because I don't know if I just want to be a dancer. But one of my he'd graduated, I guess, a year before me, but Rhett Gooder wound up coming here as an intern, and he was helping with choreography in, what was it, West Side Story. And I found out last minute that you all were searching for one more female. And they said, well, if you can throw something together, send it in. And I did. And I remember, I may have told you this before, but I checked in with Rhett and said, well, I haven't heard back. Have you heard anything? Do you know? And you called me on the phone, and I was, and you let me know that you had gone with someone else, but you like my work. Please look you all up if I'm ever in the area or if I see postings. And I was blown away because I was like, he didn't have to call me. He didn't have to send an email. He didn't have to do anything if he didn't want. It's the don't call me, I'll call you thing. And I was just, I loved that. I thought that was so special. And I hadn't had a lot of experience with other companies at that point, but when you have an interaction with good people, it. And I did. So I actually moved to Sacramento trying to get closer, because from Utah, the drive was insane to audition for anything. So I was just trying to get closer, and you all came through for auditions, and I was like, that company, I'm going to go to that company. And I auditioned, I think, again for the summer season, and Roger was at the audition instead of you. And Roger said, well, you need some polishing. You're not quite there yet, but maybe look into our conservatory and come to callbacks. And it was basically at that time kind of between going to the conservatory or looking into a grad school, because I just, I got a great education at Southern Utah University, but it was very, like I said, I was kind of very eclectic about the focus, and I learned lots of tools there, but I didn't know how to put them together. And I was looking for a place that would teach me how to put things together, and that's how I decided. That's how I wound up deciding to come to PCPA, and life changing.
Well, I mean, I remember you became somebody that we were like, we've got to see if we can get Katie to join us. And I don't know if we knew at the time what an impact you were going to have on the conservatory and then on PCPA itself, but it became apparent pretty quickly that you were somebody who was going to be a part of the PCPA family for as long as it fits into your life. Now, obviously, our audiences have seen you as an actor in lots of shows. Obviously, so many as a dancer. And we already talked about Oklahoma, and people just recently saw you in Little Mermaid. But then there's your incredible work in Julius Caesar. One of my favorites, Katie. I just loved you in that play, and I want to see more of that. I want to see you doing more. Cecily in Importance of Being Earnest, and we could talk about so many other shows where you were such a highlight, like Newsies and Spam-A-Lot, and so many shows. What am I leaving out? What's a favorite of yours that I'm not mentioning right now?
Oh, the wolves. The wolves wound
How
up
could I leave out the wolves? Oh my gosh, yes.
that was quite an experience. That was
That
pretty
was
incredible.
yeah.
I met my wife during the Penelope ad, so I mean,
Oh yeah, God, I love that show. The Penelope ad. You were amazing. In fact, there's a moment in our recruitment video, if anyone hasn't seen it, where I talk about that you're going to work hard at PCPA, but you're going to be ready to work when you leave. And as I'm saying that, as I'm doing a little voiceover of that, I've got a video of Katie in the Penelope ad leaping from the ground up to a dangling rope and then climbing the rope hand over hand. It was another thrilling moment that I think, full disclosure, we set that shot up for the recruitment video, and I made you do that so many times because I was just like, this is one of the most exciting things, that people don't get to see on stage. You don't get to see an amazing actor also have the strength to leap from the ground to a rope and climb it hand over hand up to the ceiling. So I can't believe I left Penelope out and the Wolves. Hey, just want to take a quick moment to just say thank you to our amazing sponsors. Suzanne and Ron Levy have been unbelievable supporters of PCPA for years, and they continue with their incredible support by helping us make this show, the Thursday Talkback series, possible. So thank you so much, Suzanne and Ron Levy. Let's talk about your choreography. Now, we could be here for the rest of the day listing the amount of times that you've assisted on a show. Your work as an assistant choreographer, as a student, and as an intern, really assisting Michael Jenkinson quite a bit. And I know you've assisted Michael with other companies as well around the country. But I want to focus on the shows where you were at the helm. And a lot of times I was lucky because I was your partner on those shows. We got to, I think we started doing some conservatory projects together. Working on Ruthless together, but then we quickly went from Ruthless right into Forever Plaid. What memories do you have from Forever Plaid?
I mean, my favorite number was the
plungers.
The plungers.
Yeah.
I think you fed me some images from your head, and then I just got to play off of that, and I had a blast with it. And such a great crew of guys on that show. It just kind of made for the perfect cocktail for my first professional experience because everyone was so generous.
Let's keep going down memory lane, because I got to work with you again on Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday was fun because, part of my goal is to always play to the strengths of the folks on stage. And sometimes I have more dancers and sometimes I have more movers, but looking for something that was fun, that's fun for my performers to perform. And the thing that I loved about that show was having so many enthusiastic students that were cast, as their age group, getting to do some moves that felt maybe a little more natural to them because they were of our era.
So we're doing Addams Family, and working on that together was so great, so cool. I loved it so much. Your style, the style that you brought to that show with the kind of broken bodies of the ancestors. Talk to me what you remember about Addams Family.
Quite a lot of fun. I'll be honest, Annalie and I have two little characters. Well, we don't just have two, we have a whole family here between the two of us that just, actors getting married to actors. We have characters that play off one another. But we have two little characters called Gremlins. And the Gremlins, I think, choreographed probably a good 4/8 of the opening number, just messing around because it's that sort of goofy, off the wall. We just kind of gave our inner child the reins and said, go. What do you come up with? And it worked. I always think the best work comes out of some sense of play. And then we got to collaborate with Peter, which was great. Peter Hadris, for the fencing bit. And that was great fun as well.
The Sword Fight Tango was just incredible.
That was a blast. And Annalie's quite a good swordswoman herself. And so just to get the three of us in a room playing with both dance and sword play was like my dream. Wow. I loved it. So that was one of my favorites for that piece.
Well, and Katie, I could go on and on about all of the other places you've choreographed. I will just say, off the top of my head, I had such a great time getting to see your choreography in Chicago up at the Oregon Cabaret Theater. And so you've choreographed so much for us and also for other places. But what I want to do now is talk about our next project together. Because you and I, we get to work together again now on a show that's actually called Together. This is a what I like to call a musical celebration. This is an opportunity for the resident artists and PCPA in general to get back on stage together with the audience and really celebrate being in the same room together. The resident artists are going to be singing song after song for the audience as just a way to celebrate being together again, and inspire us to just be grateful to be back in this room together again. And Katie, you're going to be directing and choreographing the show. I guess
Choreographing is going to be a very light term.
staging. What's it like to work with a playwright on a brand new show?
Absolutely a different process. I mean, so much of it, this relates to the whole experience, is just, I've told everybody we need to keep our ice skates on as we go through the process. You know, as I've been working with actors and designers, and I have to keep my ice skates on as, you know, as I'm working with you, because as changes come across, I can't pre-prep for this show in a way that I would normally do things, because so much is dependent on, you know, if a different person says a line, well, blocking is going to change or staging is going to change. If Mike decides to add a backup vocalist or take away an instrument, staging is going to change. And so I'm going in with a lot more, just having to trust my own abilities and impulses, and really get out of the way.
Katie, what's it been like to work with the designers on a show that's still developing as you're in meetings? How's that process been going?
Everyone's been wonderfully collaborative and willing to keep those ice skates on, like I said earlier. But it has been interesting to try to capture the feel of something as it's still figuring out what it wants to be. has been unique. And like I said, everybody's been great at it. But I think one of the biggest learning tools for me is learning how, as a director, I need to adjust my language, from talking with actors to talking with, you know, what we're kind of calling the writing team, to talking with the design team. Is that kind of everybody needs you to use a different set of verbs in order to express what you're going for, and to sort of try to be the person at the center there that can find kind of find what that core is, even as we're still all working on the finer points of it, has been a really good exercise for me. And like I said, everybody's been great working on it. For me, I've focused in on, you know, I feel like the things that have been at the center of this project, that have remained at the center of this project, that we get to always go back to as touchstones, have been interconnectedness and questions to me. And I think something about the idea of interconnectedness that I love is that it allows both for the celebration of individuality and uniqueness, and yet also celebrates, you know, that which ties us together. And so interconnectedness is not about sameness. Interconnectedness is actually about celebrating differentness, and in that celebration finding a unity. And so that's been one of our touchstones from a design standpoint, has been interconnectedness. So how do we get a couple different, you know, in the set, there are a few different, there are some linear things, and there are some, you know, curvilinear things, and how do we intersect them so that they're all part of the same world. In costumes, how do we make everyone look like they're wearing something that can celebrate their own individuality and yet has a theme that ties everyone together? Lighting is going to be similar. You know, each song is going to have its own flavor, but it wants to all look like part of the same show. Very similar to what Mike's doing with the music. And questions are are something that, although it's a little too ethereal to end up in like design, I think have been a driving force, because I think there's something very, very, very human about questions and the way we ask questions and the way that we wrestle with trying to find answers or live in the question. That's very human. And again, I think is one of the things that supplies some of that interconnective tissue for us.
Katie, I have lived in denial about the fact that you're leaving us at the end of the summer, but I've also been really inspired by you. Obviously, so inspired getting to work with you, but inspired by the choices that you and Annalie are making as a family as you move forward into the next chapter. I know that you and Annalie are really passionate about starting a family, and you said something, and I'm going to misquote you, but you said something along the lines that you wanted to raise barefoot children. Can you talk a little bit about what you mean by that?
Absolutely. Yes, we're really excited to become mothers and pursue that part of our life, and we both really value sort of value. Yeah, we're a big goal of ours is to create an environment that is really conducive to just positive growth for a little child. And to me, that's a lifestyle where we have time, together as a family, and lots of outdoor time. I'm always a back to nature sort of a person. I think we learn a lot from nature. I'm a good hippie in that mindset. I really do. I think nature does a lot of things well, that we can learn from. And the idea of being able to raise a child in, we say little barefoot kids in the mountains, where they can just really be in touch with the world without necessarily being inundated by pressures of society. I mean, I know they're always there, but you at least have a fighting chance to really get in touch with yourself when you slow things down.
The other thing that you said that I want to touch on before I let you go is you and Annalie are interested in a life that is more interruptible. Can you talk a little bit about what you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, originally we thought that we were pursuing starting a family, and we thought that we would continue in theater, or either here or somewhere else, and realized that over this past year that the sort of mindset that theater has about the show must go on, there are so many things that those working in theater tend to either put on hold or put aside. There are, when you enter the profession, you're told like you're going to miss weddings and birthdays and funerals, and we both thought, well, we don't want to miss our kids' life. We want to, and there are some people who could make it work, and we realized that both of us being in theater makes that especially difficult. And that sometimes the hours that theater runs, we would like to be able to have dinner with our kid every night and tuck them into bed. And, if Junior has a Saturday soccer game that we didn't know about, we'd like to be able to, just go see it. And so that's the sort of interruptible that we're seeking. We love theater as much as we ever have and ever did. And it's one of those great things that will continue regardless, and that we will believe in and be a part of in various ways, regardless of our direct vicinity to it. And so I trust that there are enough people out there that are going to make fabulous theater. It's a good time to make like there's a big call for making space at the table, and so this is a good time for us to make a little space and honor something, just a different chapter of our life. Yeah, one that's more interruptible, a little less the show must go on.
It's really inspiring, Katie, and I think what's so wonderful is your bravery to make those types of decisions. Some people we will get into a rhythm and we'll just stay in that rhythm because that's what's known, and your ability to be willing to change your rhythm, to make brave choices and go in different directions is really inspiring. And Katie, I can't thank you enough for spending this time with us. It's been so great. I am so thrilled that we get to work on together before you head out. And I know that even if we have to wait until the kids are off to college, we will get you back somehow, because we haven't ever let you leave before, and I don't think we're going to start now. We just might let you take a sabbatical. So
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for the time, Eric.
yeah,
Just a joy to talk with you, and yeah, breathe in some new stuff. It's good practice.
it
It's
is.
good practice for the soul.
Wonderful. Hey, and thank you all for joining us. We can't. I just appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. We're so excited to be coming back live. Tickets are on sale now. You can get tickets for Together, a Musical Journey right now. You can get tickets for Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill. That is going to be an incredible show that I'm excited to talk about on one of our future Talkback shows. So thank you all so much, and we can't wait to be in the room together with you soon. Bye-bye.